It's been more than 2 decades since the International Space Station, or ISS, first started orbiting the Earth. It was launched in 1998, and astronauts have been living on board since. The ISS is key to our aspirations of future space exploration missions. In today's video, we'll be sharing some interesting facts about the ISS with you. How fast does it go? How much does it weigh? What are the laws on board the ISS? Wait, are the astronauts really in danger? Let's begin with the speed of the ISS. You may want to strap yourselves in for this one. The speed limit on Earth may be around 65 miles per hour, but the International Space Station moves at about 5 miles per second. To put that into perspective, that's about 23 times faster than the speed of sound. The space station goes around the Earth in just 90 minutes. In just 24 hours, it orbits the Earth a total of 16 times. Astronauts working on the space station travel through 16 sunrises and sunsets. Apollo 11 took 3 days to reach the Moon from Earth in 1969. At the speed the space station travels, this mission could be completed in a round trip in just under a day. Pretty neat, huh? So, how much does the ISS cost? There have been some enormously expensive things built by humans over the years, but none have been as expensive as the International Space Station. The estimated cost for building the space station was around $120 billion. That's ahead of the Great Mosque of Mecca, which cost around $100 billion, and the Gorgon liquefied natural gas plant, which was around $54 billion. Wondering how the astronauts live in the International Space Station? Well, there are 2 bathrooms for the crew, along with 6 sleeping quarters and 1 gym. There's also a 360-degree bay window. As you can imagine, living on the ISS can be pretty scary. Not only are there the usual space problems, the International Space Station faces the danger of being hit by space trash. Since it's become operational, there have been around 30 times in which the ISS could have been hit by debris. There were 3 incidents in 2020 alone. In 2021, small pieces of space debris did hit the ISS. Damage was done to a robotic arm just outside the station. Fortunately, the robotic arm is still operational. NASA estimates that there are around 500,000 pieces of marble-sized debris in space. While they are tiny, they all move at roughly the same speed as the space station. NASA is trying to find a solution to clear the debris. The ELSA-D satellite is one they're currently working on. We know time is relative. The speed of light is 186 miles per second. At that speed, there would be a real difference in subjective time. Of course, the International Space Station is not moving at the speed of light, but it's still moving fast enough to make a difference for those in the space station. I mean, picture a roller coaster hurtling around the Earth. That would have a pretty significant effect on the passengers. If an astronaut stays on the ISS for a year, they would have experienced 1/100th less time than people on Earth. It may not be a big difference, but it's still something to think about. For such a big spacecraft, you'd think there would be a massive crew. Well, that's actually not the case. The space station usually has a crew of 7. When there are crew changeovers, the ISS houses as many as 13. Since the space station began operating, a number of people have visited. As of February 2022, there have been around 250 visitors to the International Space Station. These visitors have come from as many as 20 countries. About 155 astronauts have come from the United States alone, based on the country's contributions to the space station. Russia have sent 52 cosmonauts, while Japan and Canada have sent 11 and 8 astronauts respectively. Others have been from the European Space Agency and other nations. Yuri Malenchenko and Fyodor Yurchikhin hold the record for the most visits, having gone up 5 times each. The International Space Station was such a huge endeavour. It couldn't possibly be completed by just one country. In fact, it's the result of a collaboration between 15 countries, making up 5 space agencies. The ISS was built by NASA, Russia's Roscosmos, the Canadian Space Agency, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, and the European Space Agency. From the ESA, 11 countries have participated. The ISS crew is made up based on the amount of contributions from each country. Since the United States has made the most contributions, it has had the highest number of astronauts occupy it. If you think a structure that big worth that amount of money would take a long time to build, you were right. The International Space Station took 10 years to complete. As you could imagine, it couldn't be completed in just one go. There were around 30 missions needed to complete the ISS. This includes repairs and stocking it up with supplies. US President Ronald Reagan signed off on a space station in 1984, but construction only began as late as 1998. Russia launched the first segment in November 1998. The rest of the modules and supplies were sent through various missions over the next 10 years. Most of these missions use shuttles. This was also the main reason why the shuttle program had to be extended for so long. In 2009, the space station became completely operational. So what are the laws on the ISS? Well, it's kind of complicated. Since the International Space Station is in space, there are no borders for legal status. The International Space Station Intergovernmental Agreement, IGA, was signed in 1998 for legality purposes. This agreement states that the jurisdiction of various countries on the ISS is restricted to the parts of the station they have provided. So each module abides by the laws of their respective country. This means any crew member can be subject to the laws of the US in one module, but the laws would change to Russian jurisdiction when they move to a different room. The same applies to all rooms, with laws from the respective countries in play. So how long does an astronaut stay on the station? The ISS was built to figure out the impact on the human body when it stays in space for a long time. This way, they will know what happens to the body when we finally try to go to Mars. For this reason, astronauts stay at the space station for a number of months. Peggy Whitson holds the record for the most amount of time spent in space. The NASA astronaut spent 665 days, 22 hours, and 22 minutes off the Earth's surface. Now that's an achievement worth bragging about. To spend this much time on the ISS, it's got to be a big place, right? Absolutely. If the International Space Station were to be laid on the ground, it would be the size of a football field. It's the largest spacecraft ever built, with a length of 357 feet and weight of about 1 million pounds. That's about the same as 320 cars. In case you didn't know, it takes about 6 hours for a craft to get to the ISS from Earth. This is because it flies at a distance of 250 miles from the planet. A total of 205 spacewalks have been carried out at ISS since 1998. It may already be big, but there are plans to further expand the ISS. It's likely there will be 3 more modules added to it. Let's face it, it's the space age, so it would be pretty incomplete without a robot. NASA created Robonaut 2 to be part of the space station. R2, as it's known, has been at the ISS since 2012. The robot comes with vision, sensors, and dexterity that is nearly equal to humans. It's primarily used for tasks that are too dangerous for human crew members. Now let's get crazy. It can be very expensive to launch space missions every few months just for supplies. One way to fix the problem of water is to recycle urine. Yes, that's right, urine. There's a little more to it than that. The ISS has its own water recovery system. This system takes urine from humans and the lab animals on board, as well as condensation in the air, and recycles it into water that's drinkable. Astronauts on the ISS don't get to sit down for a meal. Instead, they stabilize themselves and keep floating while they eat. The astronauts also need to be careful while eating. They need to bring the food to their mouths slowly. If there is any spillage, the food will be floating around the space station. All of their food is canned and dehydrated, so there's no need for a refrigerator. NASA has confirmed that the International Space Station will continue to be operational until at least 2030. It's not clear what the future holds for the space station beyond that. Russia's Roscosmos has already stated it wants to pull out, which can happen by around 2025. The country plans to launch its own station, the Russian Orbital Service Station. Did you know you can see the International Space Station with the naked eye? This is, of course, only possible when there's no sun. The space station is very bright. It's the third most visible object in the night sky after the Moon and the planet Venus. It's fun learning about space. After all, it's the ultimate frontier. If you enjoyed learning these facts about the International Space Station, you may also like learning some scary space facts. Let's keep the conversation going with a couple more space-related videos, shall we? Here's what you need to know. Check out our video on how long can a human survive in space without a spacesuit. You can also watch scary yet beautiful facts about space and us. Go ahead, click one, or better yet, watch both, and learn more about space and our relationship with it. Did you know any of these ISS facts before watching this video? Let us know in the comments below.